excitement from Soyam since we started almost 40 minutes ago. And the reason why she is excited is because this is her first ever visit to this lovely city of Kisumu.
Why?
In fact, she has been extremely excited to visit this lakeside city of Kisumu almost for a month, as she has spent time with the team talking and planning about this lovely event.
Whoa.
And when we arrived here this morning, she was surprised when we went to my sister Sheetal's house this morning, and she says, "Dad, I've never tasted such nice samosas in Kisumu."
Yes.
Not only that, she thought that in Kisumu you never had mushroom pies.
Oh.
But this evening, before we began the function, she came to me and said, "Dad, I've had such a lovely day in Kisumu, but I have a big problem." And I asked her, "What is your big problem?" She says, "I've got more than 13 mosquito bites all over my body."
Yeah.
Nobody told me that you have to put mosquito cream before coming to Kisumu. Well, I told her that mosquitoes bite, but they don't sting. So don't worry, enjoy Kisumu. Our very dynamic Chief Executive Officer, Ashit Shah, our directors, Ajay Shah, Nishit Shah, my family members who are present here this evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot tell you how happy I am to be in this lovely city of Kisumu after a long absence of time. In fact, I've really been missing Kisumu, and because of the COVID pandemic, I've not had the opportunity of coming here. Like you saw in the video, I have been a regular visitor to Kisumu, and not only that, in my last 40 years that I've been visiting in Kisumu, I have some lovely memories of my association with so many of you. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening it is certainly a pleasure and privilege of meeting so many friends, some of our esteemed customers, and of course, some of you for the first time this evening. However, as I mentioned to you, that Kisumu has always had a very special place in my heart, is because when I first dated my wife, almost 37 years ago, it was here in this lovely city of Kisumu. And not only that, if it wasn't for this town of Kisumu 37 years ago, I would never had the opportunity of meeting the love of my life.
Yes.
That I've spent 37 years with, and that is none other than Jaina.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let me also share with you that this love story began on a bus starting from Nairobi to Kisumu, as both of us came on the bus to attend the wedding of a mutual family friend. And never did we know that on our way back, we had so many people who are trying to make sure that we get to know each other.
Yeah.
And exactly 1 week after that wedding in Kisumu, in Nairobi, we had our first date. We talked about our mosquito bites, and that ended up in love bites, and that ended up in us getting married. So you can see why Kisumu is such a special place for me, because I found the love of my life here in Kisumu. Not only that, but my favorite sister got married in Kisumu, Sheetal, and she's here today with Neil and her lovely 2 twin daughters. And to me, that's yet one more reason to make Kisumu such a special place for me. And this afternoon, as I was having lunch with Ramesh Mehta, my very, very good friend, he reminded me and told me, "Manoj, immediately after your marriage, almost 35 years ago, you came to Kisumu, and that was a very, very special time when Ramesh Mehta became the district governor, and I casted my first ever vote here in Kisumu for Ramesh Mehta to become the district governor.
Yes.
And that was the beginning of my leadership journey in the Lions organization that you all saw here on the screen. And Kisumu, professionally, also has been a very special place for me, because it was over 2 decades ago that we decided, because of our love, friendship, association with many of you that I had been working with and my other brothers had been working with, we decided that now is the right time to plant a seed here in Kisumu that will mushroom into a beautiful tree, and hence our branch here in Kisumu, Kingsway Tires Kisumu, was born. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot thank you enough, many of you, for really supporting us in our journey in Kisumu. As you saw, that we are also celebrating 63 years of Kingsway Tires Limited this evening with all of you. I would only be failing in my duty if I did not thank the dedicated and dynamic efforts of our leader. A lot of people call them heroes, but I don't call him a hero. I call him a true leader who has kept our Kingsway flag flying in Kisumu together with his team. And personally, being the managing director, I cannot share with you enough this evening how proud I am as where he has taken our business to another level. And this evening, on behalf of the board of directors, I would like to recognize our Kisumu branch manager Habib and his entire team for the outstanding leadership and work that he has been doing at our branch in Kisumu. Habib, thank you very much for the outstanding work that you've been doing. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I have been associated and I've spent more than 46 years of my prime life in Kingsway Tires Limited. But let me share this with you here this evening, that I have been so fortunate that I've had such a fantastic successor over the last 1 decade who has taken Kingsway Tires to yet another level in the entire group of companies. And this evening, I would like to recognize our Chief Executive Officer, Ashit Shah, for giving his exemplary leadership to making Kingsway one of the strongest brands that we have in the country of Kenya. Let's put our hands together for the Chief Executive Officer, Ashit Shah, for giving his exemplary leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, it is really a great evening as we celebrate 63 successful years of the Kingsway Tires Limited, and out of the 63 years which has culminated into the Kingsway group of companies that has now become a household name in our country of Kenya. We have all heard about the accomplishments and achievements that we have had as Kingsway Tires Limited over the years. You have heard from our CEO, you have seen the video, and this evening is yet another very happy occasion as we launch our biography and not my biography. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a biography that is dedicated to my late mother. As you all saw on the screen, she was the most divine soul for me personally. And I just want to share with you that this book has been dedicated to her, because she was not only my mother, but she was the mother of our entire extended family. And as my late father fell ill when I was at a very young, tender age, it was my mother that nurtured the entire extended family, that held my hand, that was always behind me, together with me, and whenever I was under at a very young age running the family business, she was my biggest and my only supporter in giving me that moral support that Manoj, yes, we can do it. Yes, let's put our hands together. And the book that I have put together is really a true story of how family values and how extended families can work together for generations, for years, to make a family business successful. And as I mentioned to you earlier on, I started working at a very young, tender age of 16 years. Immediately as I left school, my father fell sick and I had no option but to enter my father's business and start taking over. And 4 years later, he passed away. And the one person that I would really like to pay tribute to this evening, who was there at that particular time in our family life, was none other than my sister's mother, Sudha Faiba, who was there with me as my father fell sick, as I took over my father's business. And it was my Sudha Faiba, Shital's mother, who held my hand, who nurtured me into the family business, who taught me all I needed to know to carry on with the family business. So ladies and gentlemen, as I pay tribute to my Sudha Faiba, let's put our hands together for us as we remember her here this evening. The book is all about our family achievements and accomplishments. And as you saw on the screen, and as many of you get a copy of it when you leave, you will really get the true story of how family dynamics works. The book talks about my young age, when I was a young boy, what did I go through? And of course, when you compare it to today's youngsters who had an opportunity of having coffees, cakes, going to parties and drinking, at the same time, I was up there in the forefront trying to keep our extended family together. And that was my young life, where it actually demonstrates that whenever you have a vision, you can always accomplish what you want to accomplish. And at that point in time, I had a dream, together with my other brothers, that we must make our family business a success. And when we talk about our extended family, and just to share with many of you who may not know, but today our extended family is made up of more than 35 people of 4 generations, all staying together, working together, living together in a very harmonious circumstances. And that has not been easy. As you all know, that when we have family businesses, and as more and more people join the family businesses, there are issues, problems, challenges that come up. But we, as the Kingsway family, have found ways and means of how do we keep our family together. And my mother always told me, and she kept on repeating, that Manoj, if you want to walk fast, go alone. But if you want to walk far, go together. And I can still remember her words. And believe me or not, walking together, we have grown far and built our Kingsway with the practice to what it is today. The book talks about challenges. Not every journey is on a bed of roses. I'm sure all of you have gone through that journey. And the book talks about journeys. There have been times in my life or in our family life when we have had ups and we have had downs. And it's not been a bed of roses. But the important thing is the book teaches us how to be resilient and how did we overcome these challenges of really looking into them positively, working on all the challenges and never giving up. A person who gives up is a recipe for failure. And this is what I have learned in my journey of challenges. It also talks about successes, that whenever you have successes, how do we celebrate together as a family? And one of the biggest things the book talks about family values. How important is family values to each and every one of us, especially many of you who have large extended families. I'm sure you are aware of the challenges that you have in keeping your family values intact. But nevertheless, we as the Kingsway family have overcome many of those challenges and found ways and means to mitigate and keep the family together. In fact, today, I'm extremely proud that I'm the head of the family council, where we have a family structure in place, we have a family constitution in place that every family member has signed to, and we also have rules and regulations as to what the family members can do and cannot do. And believe me, these are some of the ways where you can keep a big extended family going on for a long period of time and reduce the conflicts within the family. And the book also talks about every large family has a conflict. And how do we deal with the conflict is what matters and what is important. It's not important to know that the family has a conflict. In fact, just to share with you, the biggest debate that we as the family council are having today is that how do we get the fourth generation married, as many of them want destination weddings and many of them want to do weddings in a different way. And being a family of 35, we have almost 6 eligible fourth generation members who are about to get married, and how do we deal with them? But anyway, the idea is to find a solution, true or not true.
Yes.
Right? And how do we put everybody on the same equal par? So the book really is based on family values, and like our CEO Ashit mentioned to you, that our biggest success has been our unity and our strong family values that has kept our family intact, and hence we have grown. The book also talks about the other side of my life, my hobbies and my accomplishments in the social arena. And this evening, we have many of my lovely Lions friends here, whom I've had many years together, my good friend Pape, Ramesh Mehta, and many others who are around, that have really made me the leader that I am today at Lions Clubs International. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the book talks about challenges with COVID. And many of you may not know, but the first victim in my entire family who got COVID in the month of April last year, when COVID first struck and we didn't know how to deal with it, was none other than myself, my wife and my daughter.
Oh.
You can only imagine at that time the trauma and the journey that we went through. And today, dealing with COVID, as we now know how to deal with it, is much more easy and resilient. And finally, the book also talks about my immediate family and the support that I've received, especially from my wife Jaina, who has been a part and parcel of my entire success journey, always standing beside me in my good days, in my bad days, and sometimes making sure that I don't get enough food so that I can control my weight. That's the only complaint that I have from her or for her. But nevertheless, I must appreciate that she has been an integral and an incredible partner in the success of my journey in 1 in a million. And let's put our hands together.
Yes.
For my wife, Jaina. And you can also call her daughter of Kisumu, because this is where I found her. And of course, not to forget my lovely 2 angels, Priyam, who is married in London, and just for many of you who may not know, but just recently I became a grandfather, and that's not mentioned in the book. And not only a grandfather, but a grandfather of twins.
Wow.
So Probably when the next edition is launched, you will see the photographs of my granddaughters in my biography. And of course, my youngest daughter, who has been the biggest inspiration to me, she has really put in tremendous amount of effort in putting this book together. She has been pushing me, and really at all the launches, you have seen the energy that she demonstrates, and she is a true testimony of the third generation now joining the family business, and I cannot thank her enough for what she has done in my life, and of course writing my biography, One in a Million. And let's put our hands together for Shreya. This evening, I would also like to recognize my other younger brother, Nishit Shah. Nishit is our director of Kingsway, together with Ajay Shah, who is our director. And Ajay has been the longest serving director who has worked with me for over 38 years in growing our family business. So let's put our hands together for Ajay, Nishit, and not to forget my very, very good friend, a person that I picked right from school, groomed him, and he has been with me for more than 30 years, Ashok Patel from Nakuru. Ashok, thank you very much for being a part of my journey. And finally, before I take my seat, I must thank my very good friend Jayesh of Chavakal. I call him Chavakal because that's where I met him. And just to share with you, 2018 December, Jayesh and his wife were doing honeymoon in December in Mumbai. And that's where we happened to find them, at a lovely hotel in December. And believe me or not, that's where the journey of One in a Million started. And it was at that point in time that I met my very good friend, the author of this book. I've never met him in person till August this year. And it was in 2018 that he rang me when Jayesh was there. I talked to him on the phone and he says, Manoj, you have a great story. I've been following what you've been doing, and can I write your story for you? And at that point in time, and I very vividly remember, it was New Year's Eve, and luckily I don't drink. And I remember that he called me to wish me Happy New Year past midnight, and that's the time he asked me for the last time, Manoj, are we on for writing your biography? I said, Sandeep, for sure, go ahead and start writing my biography. Never met him in person. And after that, January, February and March, he started sending me questionnaires. We started communicating slowly. But look at my good luck. In the month of March, April, COVID struck. I had all the time in the world to write my biography, and in a record time of almost 11 months, we finished writing my biography, and for the first time, I met the author in August when we launched the biography here in Nairobi. So let's put our hands together for the author of this book, Sandeep. Ladies and gentlemen, my wife always tells me that whenever you get a mic, you will keep on talking. You never know when to stop. So she has already signaled me 4 or 5 times. I thought she was saying I love you. But that's a sign to stop. So with these few words, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you all for being here and being a part of the celebrations for Kingsway at 63, and also for the launch of One in a Million. God bless you all and wish you all a lovely Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again for our hero, Dr. Manoj Shah. Thank you all, and I'm sure you're all excited. Ladies and gentlemen, today in Kisumu City, we are so lucky and blessed to have with us Dr. Manoj's favorite sister and my favorite favor, Sheetal Shah. Please, can I call her on stage?